Hey everybody, it's Mimi. I'm hoping to get this downloaded because lately my computer's just been running really super slow, and I had made one the other day and it didn't download. So it just was taking, like, it said 70 more minutes, and it wasn't a long one either. Anyway, I was checking in. Today I'm on I've got to have my glasses on. Find out where I'm at. I needed a better notebook than this one. I'm on very low calorie day 22. The last time I vlogged, I believe I was on the 18th day. So just to get stats out of the way, hopefully there's no interruptions. Let's see. The 19th, I woke up that morning to a 0.2 loss, and I think I mentioned that on Facebook. And both meals were the chicken and kale that I made. And I wanted to tell you guys what I was doing with that. So anyway, 0.2, and I believe I had chicken and cabbage on for both meals the day before, so I was down 0.2. The next day I did have the chicken and kale again, and I was goose egg. So that was very low calorie, 20. On Saturday I woke up with a goose egg, and I had went to the bathroom some, and I decided to I had said, I believe on my first vlog, that I was thinking about doing the 20 days pop, and then the next 20 days maybe adding in different things, whether it was going to be MCT oil and also beer. Now, the other times, not the very first time I did HCG, I believe, I think I'm going to take these off. HCG, I believe, was in 2009. I thought it was 2010, but it was 2009. And of course, you know, when first time you do it, you know, you read the protocol, you read Dr. Simeon's front and back, you read it, and you do everything to the T. And and then you decide to add things in the next time, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Well, the second time after that, I believe the second time I did HCG, I was drinking a beer like on the weekends, and maybe a couple beers, and then sometimes maybe having a beer every night. You know, just wanting a beer. And I'm sure I blogged about it on my past vlogs. Maybe last year or something like that. I'm trying to think. I can't remember when I started actually blogging. But anyway, so I decided, I told my husband, I said, I'm thinking about having a beer, you know, with you on the weekend, because it's been 20 days. And so he went and got me some Bud Light. And I wound up having 2 Bud Lights. I did drink a lot of my water. You know, I drank water with that. But I only wound up eating one meal, which was chicken and kale this time. And I made it the same way that I made the chicken and cabbage. So anyway, I did go to the restroom some too. So I woke up. I got up a little bit. It wasn't really like too early than normal, but when I don't do coconut oil, which I put it in my coffee, it kind of, my joints start stiffening up and that kind of thing. So coconut oil really helps with that, just the same as I'm sure MCT oil, just straight up MCT oil would help too with your joints. But anyway, I stepped on the scale, and it said, this is Sunday, it said 0.4. Well, I thought that doesn't seem right. So I waited, and I had actually drank a cup of coffee and a half, and I could tell that my body was different. Now, usually I hear a bunch of ladies that they get on the scale and they weigh themselves like in the middle of the day or sometimes at night. Anytime I've ever tried that, I'm like 5 pounds over what I weighed that morning. So I've never done that. But this time I felt like, no, I think my body has gave up a lot more than that. So I got back up on the scale again, and come to find out, when I weighed myself, I actually put the time, weighed at 1:26 in the afternoon. So I probably weighed about 10:30 that morning. So this is now 1:26. I'd already had a cup and a half of coffee. And I did go to the restroom, but I got up and I had really released 1.2. So I knew that that was probably legit, that that's how my body was feeling. So anyway, I had just had one meal. That day we went, I had an apple in the afternoon, later on that afternoon, then we went for a hike. You know, not a real super strenuous, I mean, it got a little bit because I was weak, and I think I was really weak because I had just released that 1.2. So I think anytime you have a release like that, I think your body's even weaker. So I came home, and we came home, my husband built a fire, and we sit out by the fire and play cards. And I was just like hungry. I was like famished. So I had cottage cheese. I didn't have a full cup of cottage cheese, but I had cottage cheese, tomato. I mean, I just dipped a little bit out in onion and forgot the cucumbers and some apple cider vinegar. And I ate that, and I was really satisfied, and then had another cup of coffee. So Sunday I didn't have another beer. I had a cup of coffee. And then later on that evening, it was probably about, it was going on 9 o'clock, I got a little bit hungry. My husband made homemade chicken wings. They look so good. He makes them on the grill and barbecues them himself, and they are so good. And it was this close, and I was cleaning up the kitchen. I had about 5 seconds to say just that little teeny chicken wing. I mean, this is little teeny chicken wing. Not a big one, little teeny one. I thought I just like that. But I didn't, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm not going to, you know, start getting lazy. You know, we're now on, you know, day 21, and now all of a sudden I'm going to start getting stupid. So I didn't. So anyway, I woke up this morning to another loss, 0.8. So far in 22 days, well, we'd say really 21 days, I've lost 14.6. So that is gone, hopefully. And I got to tell you, when I got up this morning, I was slightly hesitant to step on the scale. But I did anyway. And I'm glad I did. It was 0.8 because I thought, okay, I'm going to see if this beer affects me, because the other time when I drank beer, it did not bother me at all. It was the total opposite. So far I have not had any coconut oil. I do put coconut oil on my face as a moisturizer when I went outside. Before I put makeup on, then I will put a little bit of coconut oil, but I usually don't. You know, I mean, I haven't been going outside, but if I work out in the yard, or like yesterday we went on a hike, and right now I've got makeup on. When I went to the zoo, I actually put a little bit of coconut oil on my face. And I'm just never going to stop doing that, because that's a good moisturizer, and it's a good sunblock, and, you know, I just like it. I don't put any other kind of moisturizer on my body. So anyway, I wanted to tell you a little bit about this meal that I've been making, which I'm not using any oil. If you have a Pampered Chef pie plate or container, and I'm sure it probably work in another kind of container, baking sheet, even whatever. I took, the one time I took the cabbage, and this last time I bought kale, and I just took the leaves, I washed them, and, you know, cut the thick stem off of it. And I just layered it, flattened it out like that, and layered it. And I took my chicken that I cut it up and measured, and so I just laid the chicken. I cut my chicken like in half if it's real thick, so I kind of cut it in half, or you can like cut it in half or pound it if you want to, but that's all I did. And this is what I've been using. This here is that Mrs. Wags, of course it might be backwards for you guys, the hot salsa mix. And you can actually make fresh salsa by using this too. And it's dehydrated. It's got dehydrated jalapeno peppers and onions and whatever. But it has no fat in it, no saturated fat. The sodium is 160 milligrams. It has 1 carb in it. It has no sugars in it, no protein. So it's just dehydrated vegetables, onion, green bell pepper, jalapeno, chili peppers, garlic, salt, and spices. So whatever's the extra spices, I don't know. It doesn't say it has MSG in it, and that's why I like it. Anyway, I take this and I sprinkle this on top of the chicken, and I don't actually sprinkle. I added no water to this at all. I washed the leaves, and I didn't dry the leaves, so you just lay them on top of there. And with the cabbage, I just chopped the cabbage up. I like to kind of leave it in, you know, strings. I don't like that chop it. But, you know, laid that on there and did the same thing and put this on here. So don't add any salt or pepper. Don't any added because it's got that in it. You don't want to just go overboard on the salt because it is salty. So I put it like in a bowl of this and just dump it in there and keep it out of here so I can make sure that it's mixed up, you know. And it is so good and so satisfying because there's no oil, and I'm not having to cook with oil. I'm sure I'm going to try if I can find some decent shrimp. I'm going to, you know, I'd like to try it with some shrimp. And I think I have one piece of cod, I think, left that's in the freezer. I'm going to try that. And also with the beef tenderloin that I have left, I'm going to do the same thing. I stuck it in the oven. I stuck it at 375 in the oven and let it cook for about 20 minutes. It all depends on your vegetables that you're using. Now the kale wasn't real mushy or anything. It was good. I mean, it had a bite to it. If you want it done, that's why I don't like spinach, because spinach seems to get a little bit slimy. With the chicken, with the kale, sometimes around the edges, the kale starts getting a little crunchy, just like if you're making the chips, you know. So you can add, if you want to, chicken stock in there just a little bit. You don't have to add much, but this is really good. This is very, you know, satisfying if you like something spicy. So this is like a go-to that I told my husband I was going to get me some radishes, but they didn't have any decent looking radishes. I was going to try this with radishes too. Put the radishes on the bottom, lay the chicken there on top, and any juice from the chicken can go down in there and kind of mix too with those spices. So anyway, that's the deal. So so far, day 22, still not going to, I don't feel like I need to add in the oil, which I had planned on doing. Since I'm doing good, since I'm satisfied, we're going to continue on. The weekend, I probably will continue to have a couple of beers, either on Saturday or Sunday, whenever, you know, my husband and I are going out. We're just sitting here. I mean, we're not really going out. And I think that's it. And so I'm on this until it gets close to the 23rd of October. We're having our Thanksgiving a week early because my daughter's going on a cruise. I think I mentioned that in another vlog. And so I'm going to go ahead and go into phase 3 during that time, and also the next week, because my husband is off work too for 3 days, so I don't want to be on phase 2. So I'm going to see, if I want to call that an interruption for 2 weeks and then start back up the protocol again in phase 2. like after Thanksgiving, without any loading. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I want to be very methodical about this. So that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be very smart about it. I want to see how I feel. Let's see how much more fat I release from now till the, well, not Thanksgiving, but the week before Thanksgiving. I mean, it'll be, I think, a little bit past my 40 days. And see how I feel. You know, I'm not planning out to say, okay, I want to weigh this amount of weight. I want to get to where I feel comfortable in my skin, and then leave it at that, and then continue with maintenance and maintaining. That's what I want. So it's now almost 16 minutes, I think, so I better go, and I hope this downloads really fast. I hope everybody's doing good. I know what's so cool about Facebook, because you can just get right on there and see how everybody's doing. So, love you guys. Hug to my HCG family. Good night.